Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Brooks number UCL. This is a universal cam lock assembly. Obviously a product manufactured by Compex, whose name is synonymous with cam locks. So this is a universal cam lock assembly, and I have one removed from the packaging here so that we can go over it. So first of all, you're going to have the cylinder plug with two original Compex keys. Inserting the key will bring the wafers flush so that they can actually operate within the cylinder housing, which is here. Okay, let's take a visual tour of the items first. So you've got the cylinder plug and the keys, you've got the housing, and that just simply inserts in. And it's when you attach the rest of the components that the cylinder will become captive. Let's take a look at the next piece. Let's move from the front to the back. You've got a cylinder retainer that you can install, and that will prevent the cylinder from rotating. Okay. You've got the nut that will go on the back side. It's going to keep the cylinder body tight down to the door of the fire extinguisher cabinet, is where you'd certainly be using this. Okay. Tighten that down. Then you're going to have two limiting discs. You've got one that looks like this, and you've got one that looks like this. Take a look at this point here and this point here, and the point here and the point here. When these are attached to the back of the cylinder, that is what physically limits them in terms of their degree of rotational capability. There's a shoulder right here at the tip of my finger. It's practically impossible to see on the camera. But when you insert that disc onto the back of the lock, it then limits you to 180 degree rotation is what happens, because on this disc, 90 degree rotation on this disc, because you can rotate it 90 degrees before it will hit the stop point. This one will allow a 180 degree rotation of the cylinder before it hits the stop point. Okay, 180 degrees. Also, you will get these two pieces of plastic, is what they are. Those are really important. With either of the discs, you can insert the key, turn it, let's say 90 degrees, pull the key out. With the other disc, you can insert it, and depending on the timing of that disc, you can either go left 90, back to 0, and then right 90, and then back to 0, or you can go in and make a 180 degree turn. When you slide one of these discs into a feature that's been machined on the inside of the cylinder housing, you can see that there are 4 of these preps. Tip of my finger, tip of my finger, tip of my finger here, and then here. When you insert one of those so that the smooth side is pointed out, when the key is pulled out, how those wafers then project from the top of the cylinder, when that piece of plastic is inserted in there, it prevents you from removing the key in that position. So you might want an application where you can insert the key and pull it out when the unit is unlocked, let's say. Or you might want it so that you cannot remove the key, and you would insert those discs, one or both, depending on the setup, to prevent the key from being removed, and that's what those are for. Then you've got two tail pieces, a straight and then an offset. You've got the nut to hold it all on in the back, and then you've got 3 plastic pads that will insert into the hole, the round hole that you see, just to act as a detail to allow you to further tailor the exact installation that you need. And obviously you'll break that off depending on the thickness of the pad that you need. Okay, so a common installation is going to look with the cylinder plate on, the cylinder in the housing, your limiting plate will go on. Just grab the 90 degree. Your offset, your tailpiece will then go on. And then finally the screw that will hold it on in the back. And you will, of course, tighten that up with a screwdriver, which is going to allow you to completely finish the installation. Because that star washer is there, you're going to have to use a screwdriver to tighten that down all the way. That's it. That's your complete installation. Okay. Now, let's take some dimensional properties of this material. Okay, here are some dimensional properties. So I have the straight cam installed. From the underside of the head to the back of the cam, you can see that that's about 11/16. The length of the cam to the center line of the axis of pivoting is 1 1/4. And again, that's just a straight cam. Now, let's loosen that screw and put the offset cam onto it. And you can install this however you like. I mean, depending on the installation, it's very likely that you're going to install it so that it looks like this. But not necessarily. You can take that and flip it around as well. Let's take those dimensional properties. From the underside of the head to the back of the cam, 3/4 of 11/16. To the inside face of that cam, you can see it gets down to about 3/8 of an inch. So, back side of the cam, about 11/16 all the way to 3/8. About a 5/16 offset is what you're going to be dealing with on that. Okay. The center line dimension from the end of the cam, about 1 3/16. It is slightly shorter than the flat cam, slightly shorter. Then again, onto the tip of there, you're going to insert these pads if you even need them. So the point of this cam is that it's quite universal with the ability to restrict the degree of rotation, its ability to restrict when and when you cannot remove the key, the two different cams that are available, the inserted pads that you may or may not use, okay, making it a universal cam lock. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Brooks products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you have any questions on the Brooks UCL, Universal Cam Lock Assembly, or any other Brooks product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.